Hi, it's Michael, and welcome to week 10. I decided to do a video just because maybe I can show you some things that'll be helpful. One point of this class, I hope, is that you at first might find things a little bit challenging, and that's often a good word. And you're going to try some things and maybe learn a little bit by doing them that they are difficult because that's the problem with many courses is they kind of give you the basics, but they don't really teach you why this is worth devoting your entire career to, which is what I have. I really think, and even now, I think this is more relevant than ever. And let's just go backwards quite a bit. Okay, so we started, or well, let's go forward since let's talk about the future first. One thing is because of the Thanksgiving holiday, um, we are technically having a gap week. And I think it's this week, but we're not going to do that. We're going to have week 10 because these are really just brushing on some big ideas, right? We just moved up into knowledge, and you almost probably, I hope you watch this video, realize that metadata might be extremely familiar to you because it's so useful, right? It is kind of the way you're brought up by understanding how the internet even works, and therefore you feel confident and comfortable with it. My goal was is that you don't just get to quickly add metadata, right? Even if you think of something as simple as ratings, ratings are outrageously complicated contextually. And remember, the whole text of this course is called Understanding Context, and understanding the context of vast amounts of data, even, for example, the data that you worked with to organize, coming up with metadata for that data could really be challenging. Talk about cheeses. Is it really just ratings? Is that the only thing people can do? And what exactly are they rating? And I want you to think that through, right? Because trustworthiness is our next goal. So I do see that you mentioned several services. I do my best to, just give you my comments, but you're welcome to comment back, by the way. I mean, I'm just one person here. I'm actually more interested in what do you think than imposing my thoughts. Good. You also picked from this list, and guess what? Here's what's so interesting is that everything in these services is generated by users. Now, that is not true of things like Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb, or I can name lots and lots of services. Certainly, social networks are based on you contributing the data, and there's a few in here, but some of these have specialized rules, and that's what you're there to uncover by going through exactly what we've learned in class. So before I get to that, I hope everyone, for some reason, LinkedIn came up, and I'm going to deal with that just because I did not delete it from the assignment, but I deleted it in concept here because I want to keep this up to date with the latest in user-generated services. Um, that being said, you have to contribute data. So I should have said over here, oh, by the way, I talked a little bit about numbers, and this is the funny thing, we don't deal with numbers that much because really there's not much you can do with it. Now you can make interactive versions of numbers, and they're okay and they're good. So that's all. I wanted you to see that that's like almost a whole career in itself. Part of my career, but I'm not going to go into it now. What is the core data? The core data is easy because you sign up. That's core data. You need an identity for all these. So document it. It's some fields in a database. That's it. Then you contribute something. What does it ask you for? There you go. Those are the fields in the database. That was what this is asking, and I wanted you to do it, but you cannot necessarily do that from not, by looking at it. What it looks like might not be what you actually contribute. So if you have not gone in, documented the basis of your contribution in the service, that is going to be the first part of your paper. This is a research paper, so you're going to do that task, and then you're going to then look back in time. So let's go back in time really quickly. If we go back even to week 1, there was a example here of a service that organized data, and it was the 1001 Records service. If you hadn't seen it, take a look because they did a really interesting job of taking 1001 records and then building a bunch of metadata on top of it. But I'm not expecting any speaking about metadata except maybe the last couple of paragraphs. We're just going to analyze what's going on in your data. And you're going to start there with pretty much just where you started here. I'm going to just kind of breeze over this, but I noticed a few areas where people really didn't embrace slowly loading. Might not have really picked up on all the, and this is fine, by the way, might not have completely understood what these are for. So number one is you're going to say the content. Number two, you're going to figure out how do they organize that record by record. So the record that you entered, they're going to put hierarchy onto. You can even look at the HTML, which might be interesting. Usually they do say what's important, what is in groups, what might be a bigger part than another part, and what might be like maybe your identity is a whole different part. So they're really good about patterns of taking this data and making it into something interesting. That might lead you again to certainly something to do with hierarchy and markup is really important. Then they're going to deal with taxonomy. That is, how do they ask you what this thing means? Because normally they don't know. And what gives it any kind of organization is this area we call nouns or taxonomy. So many people I don't think really embrace this fully. So please go back and review that. Then verbs, do they allow you to find things? Can you navigate? And we didn't get into free text searches, but nouns are going to play a big role in how free text search is organized, because I wouldn't know what your post is called on Instagram, for example. It's a picture, right? How do I even describe that? So how do people navigate is really interesting, and you will find out and discuss how they do that. You might use wireframes to show the nouns or the structure. That would be great. You might show a storyboard to show how do they make it easier for you to explore and spend more time on their site exploring rather than looking for something. This is like an Amazon is like this. Most people come in, they just want one thing, they search for it, they get it, the end. Metadata is how do you sort a list? And hopefully everyone found that to be a puzzle, because you didn't have any data that allowed you to sort a list. You could sort it by numbers, but sometimes the numbers, didn't make it. You can sort it by alphabet. What I'm letting you know now is that the follow-up to this class is one I'm building right now, which has to do with this week's topic and last week's topic, which let me get to, is wisdom and going up. Like, how do you trust something? And so there's a few questions here about trust, and about triggers is a big deal too. So when I order something from Amazon and I get an email saying that I ordered something from Amazon, that's a trigger, right? So the way it communicates with me, just like when you submit a comment here with my name on it, or I submit a comment, hopefully with you, it emails you that comment. Those are triggered responses, and triggering is kind of how computers can manage wisdom, meaning they don't wait for you to come find it, they tell you about it. And it also inspires action. Will you do something because this computer thing that really just started with data, remember it started with data, identity, etc. Would you then react to something such as, I'll just go back to Instagram. I think, if someone mentions me in a post, I will see that they've mentioned me and I might go look at the post because I'm interested in me or whatever. These are all just stepping stones to trust that, yes, you were really mentioned, right? It isn't spam or, the million ways we can try to distract each other. So it's meaningful. And I was going to say my course is going to be actually about how to develop knowledge based on data, all the things that we did here. How do you develop knowledge, and how do you make decisions? Like, how do you strategize? So it's going to be using AI to build new kinds of strategies around how do we deal with the inherent flaws within brittle things like rating systems or liking things or whatever, and go and move beyond that. It should be a really fun class, and I'm working hard on it. And bonus, if you made it to the end of this video, I've also extended our deadline. So while we are supposed to have this week off, instead of Tuesday being the deadline, I've extended it. I'm going to continue to ask for you, by the way, to post your Medium articles here. And just like in other situations, even more so, I'm going to go in and be able to comment directly. Oh, sorry, this is asking you about these platforms, and here's where you post your paper to me. Anyway, so Post while you're doing your early work. Put your outline and certainly put your data model in. I'm happy to offer suggestions because this is your portfolio piece. My goal is not to be telling you how to do it. My goal is to make sure that your portfolio piece has focus and is getting the point across, because that's what I want you to do. I want you to say that, hey, these things added up, they made sense. I'm here to help. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving and talk soon. And of course, if anyone would like to meet or have questions, I would say the easiest way is just post here and ask me the question so we could look at something. The context really matters. But if you're really lost in some ways, I'm happy to help. Always here. Thank you.